this. Like I said earlier, we're going to be talking about, examination boards. They've been in the news a lot recently. And I think JAMB and WAEC was just held. Yeah. So everything kind of ties into it as well. Before I go on, just my guest in the house, Tosin Jegede. You might remember her from her days back in the day when she was a child star. She still has a lot of passion for children. One child, one book. You're very welcome, Tosin. We're talking about that. And of course, Daniel Taiwo, principal of the Nigerian Premier College. Yeah. Right. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here today. Let's start with you, Tosin. JAMB has been they've gotten a lot of flack over the years. Yeah. Especially since universities started writing their own specialized exams, they called post-JAMB. Yeah. So it most made JAMB redundant anyway. So would we say that this is a right move with JAMB specifically? Do we still need JAMB?
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and with the questions that came up with JAMB being scrapped, I started asking a few people questions, and the feelings are mixed. I think what people seem to be saying is if we can get rid of the bribery, the black box that's sort of put in front of the exams, that will make things a lot better. People want transparency. The idea of JAMB itself as an exam, we understand that when you do one exam, you go into multiple Nigerian universities. That makes sense. But for me, I would think that there's a central examination that we can all do from secondary school to university. That would be better, and then we can be able to see how we can actually cut that across all universities.
But isn't that, what then is the WAEC for? Isn't it central enough? And universities supposed to be left free to do their own personalized exams. The standards for UI, for example, shouldn't necessarily be the standards of the University of Abuja. Yeah. What is wrong with them wanting their own standards?
Yeah. Well, I believe because we've got such a varying levels of universities, federal, states, we now have private as well. Is there a way that we can have all these bodies together to actually have one exam? If it's WAEC, let it be WAEC. Let them understand, okay, this is the board that we're going to cut across all of West Africa, and then we know that we're actually working in synergy, and it's not just one organization, it's not just one university. And basically, if you have this level of points, you get into this university, which is 20 points, we have 22 points. They're basically graded that way. I think that would sort of make things a lot clearer and not as confusing for students.
With NECO, I'm a bit conflicted because as much as WAEC has grown over the years, it's the most popular, of course, examination board of all of them, and it's West African. But why can't Nigeria have their own examination board? And strangely, from the day NECO was founded, it has never gotten any sort of nice reviews from anybody. And a lot of universities don't even accept it from what I hear. If you bring a NECO result to them, they wouldn't get you, they wouldn't grant you admission. What are your thoughts on NECO generally and this whole idea of it being scrapped, maybe?
Well, over the years, WAEC has had a monopoly of power, having a central examination for secondary school students. And with the introduction of NECO, WAEC seems to be like competition started. Though I would say that with NECO, it's been going on fine, but then students hardly pass it. Probably that's why we've not got some, good comments about NECO as compared to WAEC. People tend to do better with WAEC. When you see WAEC results over the years, people do better. But with NECO, you find out that WAEC students have read so much and putting in so much, the result comes out. You find
is it the students who don't like it, or is it the schools that don't like it?
No, generally, with the operation of NECO, the procedures and everything is, I don't know, it's somehow complicated. So, but then it's still good if it's allowed to run.
Unfortunately, I can't relate because when I wrote my exam, I'm not that old. But when I wrote my exams, there was no NECO, so I really can't relate to the dichotomy and everything.
Yeah.
But I know that WAEC results recently, I think 150 schools had their exams cancelled completely because of exam malpractices. So even WAEC has its own issues, but it's still left to thrive.
Yes.
Why can't NECO be left to thrive and learn or grow from their present flaws?
But you see, what I would say is that when the whole issue of scrapping of NECO and JAMB came out, I was thinking, what was the motive behind that? Well, we have people talking about reducing the cost of governance. I don't think that should probably come on education, really, because if you look at the amount allocated to education, how much is it compared to in other sector? And you're not talking about want to scrap the examination bodies that Nigeria is running. Okay, so that to me does not really have basis, because it does not solve Nigerian problem. Really, it does not reduce any cost of governance that we're talking about. But back home, with NECO and JAMB, personally, I believe that it should still be left to, it should still be allowed to run. So that's not a problem, really. Our problem is within, internal. And so let's solve that problem. I've been working in school for quite some time now, and the problem is not NECO. The problem is not, we have many stakeholders. Government, number one, and the parents, students, the proprietors and proprietresses. So we need to address issues that concerns those group of people, rather than talking about a body.
I like what he's mentioned there. This is all beyond JAMB and NECO. You run One Child One Book, so you also deal with children one-on-one and the need to learn and read and all of that.
Definitely.
Our educational system, it's in the news a lot, but at the same time, nothing seems to be happening in terms of letting it grow and making it better. Once in a while we get the odd Nigerian who's the best in WAEC in the sub-region, and it makes a lot of people excited about it, and it looks like everything is all nice and rosy. But you hear figures from like Ghana and the UK about how much Nigerians pay in tuition every year, runs into billions. What is going on? Why is there no sort of move to even try and fix these things? The bodies, like she said, may not necessarily be the problem.
I agree with him, exactly what he said and exactly what you're saying as well. I think the thing is that there's no quick fix to this. There's a problem with our educational system. There's a problem with our secondary school system. Well, first of all, I work from the foundation to the primary school. But what I find is that we need to invest more. So we're talking about JAMB, we're talking about NECO, we're talking about WAEC. Exactly what you said. It's not the issue. The issue is our teachers. What's our standard of education? If we have one educational board, if we have one exam board, it wouldn't make a difference right now, because we'll still have the results, we'll still complain about the malpractices. So we need to actually start looking at a plan. Is it a 5-year plan? Is it a 10-year plan? Let's put something down and let's actually look at, okay, it's not going to be something that would happen immediately. It wouldn't be solved in 2 years or in 1 year. It will take some time. So I think we need to basically get back to the drawing board on this and bring all the stakeholders together, as you've mentioned, and let's see how we can get something
going. But I get a sense that a lot of these stakeholders, I really don't like that word, but stakeholders are not necessarily interested in this central body. Universities make a lot of money from this JAMB thing. A lot of the private universities don't really want to be part of the whole ASU and NASU. Everybody wants to be on their own because they seem like okay, my own standards are better. So how are we going to even start this discussion?
I think, to be honest, I'm coming from a standpoint of studying in the UK. And in the UK, you have one examination, which is centralized or is governed by the government. So you have a structure that the government actually puts in place. So why don't we go to something like that, where everyone you have to basically fit the standard. That would take, again, some time to do. But if you have the government actually sort of saying, let's make this happen, let's force this, I think we'll have some people that would actually listen. If we leave everyone on their own, everyone would basically keep thinking that their own is better. And it would be a case of thinking this is better in my own backyard, but not really knowing how big your backyard compared to the next person is. So I think we need to have the government come in on this. The issue of scrapping JAMB or NECO really is not the point that we need to look at here. Let's look back to our educational system and start working there.
Speaking of government, okay, you work in secondary school with secondary school children. We started with, at least I started with, going to secondary school, we had 6334.
Yes.
Now we have 69. I don't know what it is.
934.
So it's ridiculous. I don't even know what it is anymore. What do you think works? And is this 934 even been implemented really? Because I still see secondary schools, they do their JSS 1 to SS3 anyway.
Our government really has not really tackled I don't know what the problem really is. I've been thinking about that since 334, 9. 934. So meaning they're talking about universal basic education. So from primary 1 to
grade 9.
From basic 1 to basic 9. And you find out that it's expected that junior school should be running separately from senior secondary school. But we don't have that running. Even in government schools, so to say, we don't have that. We still have it together. And you find out that we borrow people's system without understanding it, and without even bringing it down to what our culture is. The people, you can't just import things without understanding the people that want to implement that. So we have a problem in that area, and until our government comes to that, because really right now we don't really know whether it is some are following. If you get to some schools, it's not basic. Like my school, for instance, we don't have basic 7.
Yeah.
We could desire to call it basic 7, basic 9.
But it's still GS2.
We could like to call it GS1, GS2, GS3. So you find out that it's not really people. Government, I mean, they do things just for doing sake. We are working, but the work is not leading us to anywhere. So really, we should look within. What works for us? We can borrow some things, but then bring it to our own in a way that adapt it to our system, not just copy things, who can sing, just bring it down here and just follow it like that. So it's never worked. No one will finish from GS3 here. And parents say, yeah, go to vocational school. You will stop school. Even the children themselves don't really want to. So everybody wants to finish SSC. I have my secondary school education. Then from there, I want to go to university. Nobody's even talking about polytechnic here. Nobody's talking about college of education here. And we're talking about our educational system falling. So when people are not even talking about college of education, we're only talking about university, going to study law, what have you. So I think that that area really, we need to know
what works for us.
Basically.
I'm going to put you on the spot now. I'm going to go completely away from everything we're talking about.
Okay.
We always hear about, like I said earlier, 150 schools had their WAEC results cancelled. How do you guys do this thing? I'm not saying you do it, people, but how does it happen that, is it the urge to be ranked as one of the best schools in your area because, okay, you want it to be that your students had A's? Do the schools actually pay for their children to, get expo or whatever it is? Or is it the students that do it themselves? I'm trying to understand how, because it happens every year. You hear like 30, 40, 100, 200 schools get cancelled. Next year you hear the same thing. It can't be a coincidence. What really happens?
Well,
has your school ever been cancelled before?
No. Of course not. I think you have the list of school cancelled, so my school is still running. We're doing fine. We're doing better. Okay. Really, what I would say is that I say Nigeria, as it is, we have not faced our problem. And like I said, there's no quick way to it. It has to be. We have to follow a particular process. People have done this before, and we can follow their process. Coming to our examination system, people passing or cancelling examination. The truth is this: every school, so to say, wants to be known to be a result-oriented school, and either you get your result directly or indirectly, your student have to pass. And with the corrupt system that we have in this country, people tend to buy their way. Either want to have it. You tend to have some parents, they don't care how their children are doing. Just let my child have his result. So if they have their result, no problem. How they have got it, they don't care. So you have that system. And in a school whereby they are following process, the children, your child, you know the capability of your child, that this child needs time to learn and know things, but you want that this child, when he writes the exam, should pass. And once the school allows that process to take place and the child fails, you find parents, withdrawing that child.
Schools want the children to stay back. So
take that child to a place where you are going to quick feast and the child is doing well on paper. And that's what we have. Basically, there's a problem. It's not just about, if you talk about secondary school, if you want to talk about university, I employ people. I can't imagine.
And you can't place the grades besides the person you're
No.
Some guys is a 2-1 and they can't hold proper interview.
That's the problem.
From letter, just write me an application letter. You find the problem has started.
I think it's just a microcosm of Nigeria as a whole. It's not about nobody cares how you got the result. As long as you're the same way people, as long as you're rich, nobody cares. Ask questions.
No one asks questions. That's the thing.
There's something you mentioned that struck me as well. I always say that if we had a proper guidance counseling system in Nigeria, a lot of people would not be doing what they're doing today.
Exactly.
You find, I don't have any data, but I'm sure like more than half of Nigerians are unhappy doing their jobs because they're doing things they don't necessarily want to do.
Exactly.
What is wrong with the guidance counseling system? I had a guidance counselor in my secondary school, but I know that for the most part she was idle because we never knew how to go talk to her, what to say to her.
Yes.
And our secondary school students were in boarding house. We're scared of her half the time.
Yeah.
But she's a teacher. She's an auntie. You know.
Yeah.
Why? How can we bring that back into the
Wow.
entire system?
I think that first of all, we're in the internet or the information age, right? So I think there's that. We have that. Secondary school is a level when students should be able to access information. But unfortunately, the ones that have access to information are using it to chat, use all this Facebook.
Yeah.
They don't search for it to get information. You can actually get on Facebook or get on the internet and actually start building your career. There are people that actually have become billionaires at 16, selling ringtones and things like that in the UK, and that's basically from being on the internet. So I think the thing is, guidance counselors, yes, it would be fantastic, but then we haven't actually gotten the people that are exposed enough to say, okay, you like mathematics, you like economics, why don't you do something in business decision analysis or something like that? They don't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, do mathematics, what kind of job will you get? Be a professor. That's rubbish. No, go and do this thing. Go and do business admin. Business admin, gosh.
My father said I should be a doctor.
Exactly. So there are things that actually, the options are actually available. I think maybe what we need to start doing is exposing the minds of young people. And I would like to throw this out to the telecommunication companies. Is there something that they can actually start doing for young people that can say, okay, this is a package that you can have to search for information, which you can put together. Because we don't have the people. We haven't got the, first of all, we are short of teachers, first of all, before we start saying let's start employing guardians and counselors. So we need the children actually, and the children are capable. If you put the right tools in their hands, they will do it. And they have the tools, they just don't know what they can do with it. So I think we need to just start exposing them to know, okay, you can do this now. You have everything's in their hands. So let's stop waiting for the government, stop waiting for our teachers, stop waiting for our parents, and let's start actually equipping students to encourage them to know that they can do these things. I think it will be amazing. We will find amazing things.
I think that's an interesting way to wrap this up. Thank you very much, Tosin. We'll be looking at the government to see how they end this all up. We're hearing that NECO might be merged with WAEC, and so that they have just one body to conduct 2 exams. But I thought they conducted 2 exams already. Is the GCE gone?
No, it's still on.
So there's GCE, there's May, June WAEC, there's also NECO. So there's 3 exams right now.
Yeah.
So you want to merge
4.
both of them.
Okay.
What's the 4th one? NECO has
NECO,
GCE.
NECO, JAMB,
There's NECO, GCE, and WAEC.
NECO, GCE.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I think you're going to wonder how old I am now, but I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Tosin, for being here.